Hello everyone, this is Namir Qureshi, and I want to welcome you to Unfolding Destiny, where we teach you how to build your life within the context of your true identity. Today's topic is an interesting one. For one, if you haven't noticed, the whiteboard is gone. I want to talk to you face to face without having the distraction of a whiteboard behind me. I've had people reach out to me saying it's hard to read the text, and honestly, it's really more so for me to guide my own discussion. I think this would be an easier format. So thank you, Ben Chera, for spotting that out for me, or pointing that out to me. Anyway, today's topic is a really cool one. It's really all about how money destroys innovation. So this comes down to, I want to share some stories from my personal life to help illustrate the point. But let me first set the stage with a book written by Daniel Pink in 2009, I believe. It's called Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. So in this book, Daniel talks about these two different types of drives. One's an intrinsic drive, the other is an extrinsic drive. And he talks about the workplace and just basic problem solving. And what he says is that, sure, when the goal is clear, when you have your eyes locked in on it, when you know exactly what you need to do, then yes, money is an incredible motivator. So if you tell someone, hey, listen, you got to tie your shoes. If there's 10 people and the grand prize is $100 for the person that could tie their shoes the fastest, all right, I can bet you $100 that person will, well, I'm not going to bet you, but you know what I mean. There's going to be someone who's going to get there faster than everyone else, and money will be the biggest drive for that person. You pay someone $100 to do anything that makes sense, that is clear and it's logical, and the outcome is predictable, and all you have to do is just deal with mechanical goals, and it drives. And sure, if it's something that's mechanical, that's just task-oriented, then sure, money helps out a lot. But what about problems that don't have clear-cut solutions? What about problems where you really don't know what the answer is? You don't really know how to go about approaching the solution, and there's just a lot of unknown variables. In that case, will money help speed up the process? No, it won't. As a matter of fact, when it comes to dealing with problems that are more complex, where the answers are not as clear-cut, when you're dealing with unexplored territory, foreign lands, new worlds, Dungeons and Dragons, when you're dealing with the complex and the unknown, the worst thing you can do is throw money at it, hoping that it'll solve itself. See, extrinsic drives are motivated by things like cash, rewards, incentives. You up the incentive and you'll probably produce a really powerful, strong, and quick outcome. But when it comes to intrinsic drives, then you're dealing with something completely different. Intrinsic drives are motivated by things like autonomy, which is giving people the ability to decide for themselves, giving them creative freedom. It deals with mastery. And it deals with things like purpose. So autonomy, mastery, purpose. These things are very powerful drives for us. And if you can align a mission with those drives, then you can produce powerful results. Then you can have it so that the people, your employees, the people on your team, the company that you're leading, these people, or the country that you're leading for that matter, if you can give people a mission that's bigger than themselves, then they're more than likely to pursue it. They're more than likely to pull all-nighters, to work through the weekend, to take any personal holiday they have, set it aside and just work on this task, because the reward really is the exploration of the problem itself. The second you tie money to that, then things go haywire, because now suddenly what happens is money is like a big laser beam, and it makes you focus specifically on one point right there, right? It makes you focus on that one thing. But when it comes to dealing with the solution or the solving of complex problems, then money itself does not help, because with the dealing of complex problems, you need to have a really wide panoramic view of the field. You got to be open to ideas coming from there and there and there and there and everywhere. You got to be open, and when opportunity strikes, you got to be able to perceive it and see it coming at you. But when you have money in the equation, you lose sight of all that. You have blinders to everything. You're quickly just trying to find boom, 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 hunter and gatherer, dude, boom, boom. I just gotta go, boom. I gotta pick this up. I gotta grab it. But it doesn't work when it deals with complex problems. And so this really was the story of Nixotype. This is the company that I'm working on, that I've got a team behind, and it's a long story. We are working on it. We're bringing the product to market, and it's going to be an exciting year for us. But it wasn't without its own trials and tribulations. See, back in the day, as I was starting out this problem, I thought that the things that were getting in the way were school and work. I thought that, look, I know what I'm working on. I know what this problem is that I'm looking to solve, and let me just have enough money. You invest into my company, that will buy me the time so that I can actually solve this problem more quickly and bring it to market. And with that thinking, I assembled a team together and made a lot of mistakes along the way. I mean, I even thought that, for the longest time, I truly thought that the problem that we had was investment and funding. That if we could find a way to get that money in, then all of our problems are solved. And so using that vantage point, using that perspective, I did a lot of crazy cool things. I mean, I love my journey. I learned how to pitch my company. I put together hundreds of variations of pitch decks. I put together hundreds of variations of presentation notes. I've talked to so many different people. I've been to multiple pitch competitions. There was one at Temple University called the Be Your Own Boss Ball. I must have tried like 4 or 5 times to get in, and I never got in because my problem is so complex that it was hard to articulate it in a way where it made sense to investors in a competition. Having said that, I was also able to raise lots of money in investment anyway, in terms of like just getting funding. And our investors, what they wanted to know was, all right, how quickly can you bring this to market? All investors, what they want to know is, how quickly can you take this idea that you have and bring it to market so that you can actually make money off it, so that they can get a return on it? And the problem is that when you involve money, other people's money, they don't see the problem from the same vantage point that you see it. And in many cases, when an investor invests money, that person thinks that, all right, this idea sounds cool. They don't understand how complex it is. They just see the market value behind it. And for them, they think that, all right, if I throw money at it, boom, I'll get money back. That's the hope. They want to have an exit of some sorts. So along the way, not only did I try out 4 or 5 different competitions at Temple University, I also went to the Forbes conference. I thought I would meet some influencers there. I thought I would be able to network and really bring my idea into traction. I thought maybe we just had a traction problem. Maybe that enough people didn't know about it. Maybe if enough people knew about it, then maybe that would give me the market penetration and the market reach that I needed. And then we also tried an incubator. So there was this incubator called Smart Invest. And man, I burned out 2 weeks of my paid time off. I had no more PTO left at the end of that 2-week session. No more like summertime, nothing. I had no holidays left. I truly put all my PTO into this one thing, thinking that, all right, maybe our problem was that we just didn't know how to pitch our idea. Now, we learned a lot along the way. Now, with Smart Invest, the other side of it is that if your idea truly was valuable and meritable, then they were going to invest some seed money into it. So for the longest time, we were spinning our wheels trying to figure out, how do we frame this idea up in such a way where investors will want to bite, where investors will see the value in it. We thought that if we could just raise enough money, that all of our problems will be solved. And it makes sense. Like, when you think about $1 million or $2 million, like, that's pretty life-changing. When you have $2 million invested into your company, what can't you do? I mean, now you can hire a team. Now you can quit your job. Now you can work full-time on this problem, bringing it to fruition, bringing it to light, bringing it to market. That's the myopic. That's a short-sighted view. What we don't realize is that $2 million is not a lot of funding. I mean, let's just say, for instance, the average employee costs around, well, they want around $50,000 to $60,000 a year. Then you also have to pay benefits out of that as well. So someone who's making $50,000 a year, it costs you around $65,000, $70,000 a year. So if you already got like a 5-person staff, that's around $400,000 right there already gone. Now you might also think, oh, well, 400, let's just call it 500,000. You still have $1.5 million left in funding. Okay, even then, there's all these unknown variables that come up. And then the problem is that because we constantly, or people will think that the way to solve the problem is throw more money at it, you're going to start throwing the money towards marketing. You're going to have a $400,000 marketing budget towards a problem that you haven't even validated yet. And that's really, really bad. And it's so easy to attract all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of things on your journey that will not help you. And suddenly what happens is, because you're still not clear about the idea that you're trying to work out, other people are clearer about their own ideas. So a lawyer or a venture capitalist, an engineer, whatever, someone who's a specialist in their own field, who has mastery over their own field, they'll look at your idea from the lens of their field, and they'll think, oh, well, that's solvable. You just throw more money at it. It doesn't work that way. You really need to find a way. The solution is, and it might not sound sexy, but it's just the goddamn truth. You gotta work very hard, very long, without raising any money, without raising any capital. And you gotta find a way to really just zero in on your problem and solve that independently of anything else. So don't quit your job. Don't quit your diet. Don't quit going to the gym. You're going to find that these things actually help you. They keep you in shape. They keep money coming in. Don't just quit your job. Don't be mean to your employers. Don't create a bad reputation for yourself. Don't just think that you quitting your job or you quitting the gym is going to suddenly expedite the process. Don't think that your issue is time, and that if you can buy out more of your time, that you'll be able to more quickly resolve this issue. No. And don't even think that your issue is a team. No, you might be at a point where you don't need a team. Right now, you really got to figure out what your problem is. And I don't mean like, what's your problem? I mean, what is the problem that you're solving? Try to really figure out, get a journal, write it out, do experiments, do everything that you can for free. Eventually, see, what happens is we stretch ourselves so far out into the future that all we can see is the future. And we just wonder, oh, well, that future seems so far away. The only thing I could do is just raise money and then get there. No, there are problems right in front of you. In my past couple of videos, I talked about problems, and I really strongly recommend you take a look at those. I talk about how to get your desires to chase after you by solving a very big problem. I talk about becoming the master of a subject area so that the money and the relationships and the tribes and all that stuff comes to you. But this is another level of insight over here, which is extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. It's the idea that just throwing money at a problem will not solve it. And 9 times out of 10, the problem is not the money anyway. Because if you truly built something that the market needed, if you truly built something that the world valued, and truly, like they want it, they're lining up for it, but your problem is that you just need more money to scale it, well, I'm telling you, the money will come. One of my friends told me this a long time ago, and it has stuck with me. And it's like, he says, the best time to ask for money is when you don't need it. If you need it, then it's not the right time to ask. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that you gotta work on your problem. So if you're worried about a team, then don't worry about the team. You work on your problem long enough, you start articulating, you find the words and the vocabulary to express it. Eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to find a person who believes in you, and then another person. And when you start to meet enough people, you're going to find the right people who can help you and become a part of your team. And then when they become a part of your team, I'm not a lawyer, so consult your lawyer, but what I would say is that if you are trying to put together a team and you don't have the money, don't worry about it. You can find out ways to work out a deal amongst yourselves. Maybe there's equity or whatever. I'm not going to talk about that because you got to talk to your lawyer. But all I'm saying is that there are ways for you to work together and align with an intrinsic drive. So early on, when you're passionate about your idea, chances are there's going to be other people out there as well who are passionate about it as well, who are bored, who have this incredible skill set. Maybe they know how to market. Maybe they know how to speak. Maybe they know how to put together pitch decks. Maybe they know how to do their financials. Maybe they know how to coach. Maybe they know how to design. By the way, I found all these people. I found all of them. And the thing is, maybe they know all this stuff. Maybe they have a master's in architecture, and maybe their name is Alex Weber, who's also one of my business partners. The thing is, there are so many people you're going to find along the way who are going to be able to help you. And you don't want to introduce money early on, because in the past, in my personal life, when I tried to bring in money and then pay people to help speed up that process, it backfired, because I wasn't respecting the fact that there is an internal drive here, there's an internal motivator, and that this problem is a nebulous problem, it's unclear, there isn't a clear answer to it. So by just throwing money at a person saying, hey, solve this, it actually made things worse, because they didn't really know how exactly to go about solving it. And by having the money be a part of the equation, it suddenly diluted their focus. So now there is a way to have money as a part of this. I mean, once you have a product that you brought to market and people are paying for it, then sure, now you've got a company, now you can pay your payroll, and then even then, pay people enough so that the topic of money is off the table. Then you can do things that include like 20% time, which is what Google has, where basically you give employees 20% of their time to do whatever project they want, work on whatever you want. Exercise your autonomy. Give them the freedom to work on whatever they're passionate about. So there's ways to exercise that autonomy even when you have money coming in. But at the grassroots level, money will not solve your problem. People want to fight for things like honor, justice, innovation, and by paying them to do that, people will fight for their freedoms just for free. But when you start making money and cash and incentives out of it, it dilutes the entire focus. So my biggest takeaway here is that don't speed up life by thinking that money is going to solve your problem. We've tried that in the past, and it wasn't the most effective, I would say. It was one of those things where it made it so that we learned a lot along the way, but it wasn't the most effective in terms of giving us the power and the grit that we needed to really see this thing come to life. It was only when I shifted my perspective towards sales, that's when everything changed. See, we're no longer looking for investment or investors. That's the furthest thing from my mind, because I know we're dealing with complex problems that money cannot solve. The value an investor brings to the table as of right now is just being able to scale the process even further. What we are looking for is to bring our product to market, have customers, get to the first sale, and then we'll build a company around it. We'll make sure that we have the right policies and protocols in place. But ultimately, the whole idea is that you want to bring whatever your idea is to market first and test it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mixotype isn't perfect right now, but it is at a point where it can actually start to influence people if we structure the narrative in the right way. Now, narrative and marketing, that's beyond the scope of this video, but I just need you to know that you will get to a point when you will know when it's time to bring your product to market, and no amount of money is going to help you speed up that process. None of it. You're going to have to find a way to make it so that you are fully invested in the idea, that you can work out the problems on your own. Eventually, when things become clear, you build bridges towards the next step, and that's how the company evolves. And here's like a big, mind-blowing thing. See, you can only do this for something that you're truly passionate about. See, I'm not passionate about underwear or socks. I couldn't spend all my time working on a problem that deals with underwear and socks or popsicles or donuts. That's not the thing that drives me. And one thing that you can do, and I might talk about this in a future video, is I want you to step forward into the future and think, all right, beyond the investors and the investments and the team and all the stuff that goes into your company on the problem that you're trying to solve, is this something that you would enjoy marketing? Because at the end of the day, you've got to market your problem. Are you passionate about pitching this product? I love pitching Mixotype. It's my passion. I'm not gonna pitch underwear or boxers or socks. I'm not gonna pitch markers and crayons. It's not my thing. But I would love to pitch identity all day long. And I would love to make 1,000,000 ads all day long. I could talk about this 24/7. So the idea that you're trying to solve at the end of the day, is this something that you could talk about 24/7? Because the thing is, up until the point that you market it, you're going to be talking about it anyway. Even if you don't have the full words to describe it, you're going to be able to start articulating bits and pieces of it to the world, and people are going to respond. They're going to say, oh, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. This is how like rappers, they don't just emerge overnight. They spent years perfecting their craft to the point where they can now spit. And the whole idea is that there's this emergent property behind solving your problem that money just does not, money hinders. You want to be able to do it bare bones, grassroots, build up your vocabulary along the way. And someday when you're marketing it, realize this is what you're going to market 24/7. Is this something that you're passionate about? I love the examples of Elon Musk. I mean, he's passionate about SpaceX. He's passionate about Tesla. It's not like when he said this during an interview, when it was time to bring these companies to market, it wasn't like he was talking to investors and saying, oh, well, it looks like space is a really good place to start a business. It wasn't that. It wasn't really financially driven. It was he wanted to solve a problem that nobody else is solving. And now he's a multi-billionaire because of that. And he's also very smart, and he knows how to approach problems in a way where he can make them marketable. And I want you to do the same thing. Now, in his case, yeah, he actually did have lots of money, but you got to understand that he sold his one company for like, I don't know, close to $1 billion or some strong number. And then he was able to take parts of his PayPal equity and sell money in that, I think. And then he was able to flip that and put it into SpaceX and Tesla. But even then, he paid people enough money just to kind of get the topic of money off the table. After that, it was all about motivation, about like the internal drives of autonomy and mastery and purpose. He wanted to put people in outer space. That's huge. I want you to think deeply about the problem that you're going to solve, but also realize that money will not help you get there faster. But what will? Well, it's not really a matter of speed. It's about legacy. Is this something that you're passionate about, that you can speak about for years on end? Is this something that's worth you going through lots of trials and tribulations, trying to figure out what your voice is behind it? There's a lot that goes into it. And unless you're truly serious about it, then work your day job and just get a regular job, get a 9-to-5, get a professional services job, do something where all the guesswork is taken out of the equation. And for some people, that might be okay. But when it comes to dealing with like starting your own company or your enterprise or doing something that's going to change the world, I want you to shift your perspective. Know that money is a result. It's a byproduct of the narrative that you're able to create through the problem that you're able to express through your words most clearly. And if you can bring your product to market at even some small semblance of a level, and people are starting to pay for that, then you take that money and then you build your enterprise. Investments only help when there's scalability involved. So prove product market fit. Even Zuckerberg, I mean, he had like 300,000 users on Facebook before he got a $500,000 investment from Peter Thiel. So just think about these things. All right. If you found value in this, you know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, get the notifications, share this video. It's been a pleasure. And thank you so much. Have a great one.